Hey, Cynthia, Loren, what's good? So, beliefs create reality, right? And where does belief come from? It's a repeated thought that we keep thinking. So then what ended up happening, consciously we're thinking about that, and what ended up happening is it gets stored in the subconscious. Think about it this way. There's the conscious, and then there's the subconscious. The conscious is what you're thinking right now. Like you're kind of conscious of it. That's why it's called consciousness, right? But what you keep thinking about and you don't know that you're thinking about it. Let's say you're watching a TV program. That's what's called TV programming, because it's supposed to program your subconscious through your consciousness. So just be careful what you consume, because we care about so much about what we eat, and yet we don't care about what we put in our head for some reason. But anyway, so whatever you consume repetitively gets stored in the subconscious. So let's say you keep thinking, well, I'm not really good enough, I'm kind of nervous, I don't know, that kind of thing. You keep thinking about that, it gets stored in your subconscious, and then whenever situation happens or something, your thought goes straight to that. So think about subconscious as a shortcut of thinking. So in order to reprogram our minds, what we need to do is pull out all the beliefs that we used to have, that doesn't serve anymore. In my new book, I talk about something called the starter data. So when we're little kids, we're basically in the theta wave, brainwave, which is like a sponge. We absorb everything that we hear as reality, right? It's the personality of what we think is real. And normally it's the parents or the society or something that tells us something, and then we create that belief because we keep thinking about it, we keep hearing it, so it gets stored in the subconscious. That's a shortcut of thinking. Now, growing up, what we're supposed to do, that's why teenager goes through this rebellious stage. It's because they're supposed to find their own way and not repeat what their parents or ancestor or somebody did, because it's not them. We came to this world to have this awesome human experience. That's what we came here for. Nobody comes to this world to suffer. Nobody's the exception. Nobody came to this world to suffer. Sure, there are different karmas and different samskars and everything according to yoga, but at the same time, we came here for the human experience. We came from source energy, and it's infinite. The universe always constantly expands. It never stays in the past. That's why when you stay in the past, you suffer. That's why nostalgia and all that stuff, when you look at the pictures from the past, or you meet your friends and you guys talk about the past, it just brings you to tears most of the time. Most people don't go, wow, this happened 10 years ago, it was so awesome, and then leave it as that. Usually it's so awesome, I wish I can go back there, I wish my pet didn't die, or I wish my aunt was still alive, or I wish this, I wish that. That's staying in the past. So when you stay in the past, knowing that your inner self, which is your real self, because whatever you're thinking right now is your ego self. Sometimes when you have the gut feeling that tells you something is wrong, don't go there, or it tells you, wow, this is really cool, take a chance, And you can't really explain it because it's beyond reasoning. There's actually Dr. Hawkins have a chart, and it talks about that, and I'll talk about it a little bit in the next video too. But once you have past reasoning, the frequency of reasoning, we get into love, joy, enlightenment, happiness, and a lot of these things that for no reason, it is just is. But we have to raise our vibration step by step though. Shame, fear, guilt, anger, courage, and then you get pride, and then you get to, neutrality, and then you get to reasoning, you get to love, joy, enlightenment, and all that stuff. It's a level up system. But we get started with this starter data that we were given by parents, by whatever it is. But what is supposed to happen is we're supposed to reprogram ourselves during teenager years or when you're in college. Most people just stick with their starter data. That's why it doesn't feel right. Know that there's an inner self within you. That is the infinite being. It's the seer. Think about it this way. Both of this is you. Your ego self is on the bottom of the mountain or the bottom of the lake or something. bottom of something. And then you get this seer, which is your inner self, on top of the mountain. And they can see that, hey, you know, there's an easier path to go. If you go here, the trees fall in here, there's some rocks, it might be dangerous for you to cross. And it's much better to if you take this road. There's a person there that might rob you, so let's go around that person and not get robbed by that person. Meanwhile, your ego cells down there are going like, well, I think I hear somebody. Maybe they would know where I'm supposed to go because I'm lost. Maybe they will tell me. Meanwhile, your inner self is telling you something. Don't take this path, take this path. But most people ignore that gut feeling, thinking, I don't know why I think that, why should I follow it? So that's your inner self. Your inner self is the infinite being who agreed to come to have this human experience. Because we came from source, we don't have a body, we cannot experience this human experience. That's why we signed a contract and we came here. But we went through something called a veil of forgetfulness and we don't remember anything. Why is that? Because if you would have remembered that, hey, I can manifest anything, I am infinite being, it's just like when you play a video game, you can see the surrounding and you can see the screen. No matter how great that game is, you're still not 100% in it. Maybe you're 50-50 in it. If somebody walks past, you look at your family member, your dog barks, you look there. You get what I'm saying? But this is the best virtual reality where you're completely immersed in it. And if you really look at the manual of your body, your mind, spirituality, and everything you put together, you're going to have this really great human experience and still be able to manifest the life of your dream, basically. So beliefs create reality, and beliefs are repeated thought that you send to your subconscious, not knowingly you're sending it there. And now the universe communicates through your subconscious, because the consciousness is too flickering. I want this, I don't want this, I want this, I don't know about this. It has all sort of contradictory thoughts. But if you keep repeating one thing, the universe would think that you must really like it because you're spending all your energy there. Imagine you have a pot of water, a jug of water. You have a rose garden that you really try to grow your rose, and then you have all these weeds on the side, not weed, but things that you're not really intentionally growing. It's just kind of there. Basically killing your other plants too, trying to grow, it's not wrong, but you're not trying to grow that. You're trying to grow the rose, right? Because you're trying to have a rose garden, so it smells good, you enjoy it, your friends enjoy it, you enjoy it. But instead, you go to the dead flower, you go to the weed, and you just started watering it, and then the flower is dying right there, but you want the flower to grow. You see what I'm saying here? Don't water the dead plant. It served no purpose. Don't water things that you were not meant to water. If you meant to water the dandelions, the weed, and all that stuff, then go ahead and you do it, but do it consciously and be it a choice. Make it a choice. When things are happening on accident, you suffer, right? So living in the past is one thing that makes a lot of people suffer. So live in the moment, because your inner self and the universe is constantly expanding, and the only moment that exists is actually this moment, because the past serves as memory, and then the future, really anticipated moments, right? It didn't come yet, but it will come. So the inner self is really just really interested in the moment right now. That's why when you're in the moment doing something, you feel alive, you feel great, your mind doesn't go here and there. Why is that? Because you're aligned. When you are aligned and you believe something, and then you feel it, and then you see it. You know how people always say, oh, when I see it, then I'll believe it. If you already see it, then it already has manifested. You don't need to manifest that. It's already manifested by somebody or by you already. It's a past thing. Of course, enjoy whatever is in front of you, but if you want to manifest something, you got to believe it first. And you really got to truly believe it. And you got to really merge with your future self. Because quantum science have shown that, each of the timeline does overlay on each other, and that your ideal self does exist right now at this moment. All you have to do is change your behavior, change your beliefs, change your surrounding a little bit, and then you can shift into it. Why do I say really focus on the beliefs and your action? Really focus on that belief and change your identity. I got some exercises that is extremely effective. I talk a little bit about here to help you get into the new version of you that you would love. So have a worksheet and start by designing the new version of you. What would the new version of you do? What are his or her habits? What doesn't she do or he do? What do they enjoy to do? And then merge that in. I have something written here so you can kind of get the exercise. It's also in my book too. So you can kind of get it. When you wire yourself that way, you start changing yourself and stepping into the timeline that you want to be at and changing your beliefs. That's why reverse engineering works. It's not so much about adding new things. It's more like unlearning the things that doesn't serve you anymore and then shifting it into things that does serve you. Once you believe that you can do it and you feel it, the universe have no choice but to show you how you feel on the inside. If you feel really bad inside and you're kind of like, oh, nothing has happened, well, nothing will happen to me. Nothing will happen for me. I don't know, it's gonna be in the future. That kind of thing, then the universe is gonna go, oh, okay, so this is what you like, right? You like whatever you're doing, so I'm gonna send more to you. The law of attraction works that way. You are constantly attracting. Either you are attracting lack or abundance. So abundance is always there, but when you put resistance in the middle, that's when you attract lack. Because it has to go to the different spectrum, either fear or love. Anytime when you feel scared, know that it puts you into a low vibration, and that's what you're gonna match it up with. Because if you're not at a lower vibration, you wouldn't feel fear. So anytime you feel fear, snap out of it. Be brave, be bold, and be yourself. You know, don't try to people please and like, oh, you know, I'm gonna do certain things so people would like me and all that stuff. Don't do it. Because when you do that, what ended up happening is that you lose your sense of your own identity, the type of life that you want to design. As yoga says, the whole point of this life experience is to become the creator himself or herself, depending. So it's really about creating your own life, the way that you want to live. Everything is just an experience. Nothing is really bad or wrong. Everything is just neutral. Unless you paint a color on it, it's just transparent. And how do you get clarity? How do you step into this new identity? One thing you must do is meditation. Get up in the morning and you sit for 5 to 10 minutes, close your eyes, and just breathe. If thought comes, observe it, let it come, let it go. And I suggest the night before, have a notebook. Get a notebook that you really love. Like I got one that says the universe on it, and it looks really cool. So every time I look at it, I was like, whoa, this is really cool. You know, and I write down the things I'm gonna do the next day, what I intend to do the next day. It's not so much as task or like I'm forcing myself into it. It's more I'm excited to do it. But if I don't write down my destination or which set point I'm gonna have, I might not remember them, or ego might come in, or other people might disturb my field a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do this anymore, but I really want to do it. And anytime that happens, and if you stop doing it daily to wire in your real, like your true self, to do what you're passionate about or what you love and all that stuff, you let people skew you around or you just skew yourself around, you're going to be ended up like feeling really low because you're not supposed to just stand still. You're supposed to expand with the universe, right? And there's always desire. When there's desire, immediately turn it into intention. Believe that you can do it. So just believe it and then feel it. Put a little bit of action out, not like so crazy, but put a little bit of action out without resistance. But when you step out of the comfort zone, know that there will be a little bit of resistance or a little bit of uncomfortableness per se, but that is different than something that you know you don't want to do, that you don't enjoy doing. There's a big difference. It feels similar at first, but let's say you really want to become an artist, right? And you draw a little bit every day. You wire your new identity in by drawing every day. Every hour you'll be like, every day, You wake up and you draw a little, or if you're a writer, every day come up and go on your computer and write a couple of sentences, and then think, I'm a writer. What would a writer do? That way you step into that new identity. When you do it every day, it becomes natural, and then you decrease the significance, the importance of it, and then you release the resistance. Because whenever you think things are so important, what ended up happening is vibrationally, you're separating yourself from which you want. Even to attract a person, career, anything. When you put someone on the pedestal, think about it. They're on a pedestal. They're higher than you are. That's what you think. But meanwhile, if you also think you're worthy, I'm really great too. I'm doing what I love. If this person likes me, that's awesome. If she or he doesn't, that's also awesome. I'm fine on my own. I'm really happy on my own. You know what I'm saying? So you must do the things that wires your new self into your daily activity. And when I say environment, change it, I don't mean like move to a new place and all that stuff. Oh, maybe it means that. But what I mean is when you try to wire yourself to a new identity, your family, friends, or people around you might think you're super weird. Like, hey, because that happened to me. Like, who are you? You're so different. You don't drink anymore. You don't like smoke anymore. Like, what's wrong with you? We don't enjoy the new you. Now, there's two choices here. Either you can go back into feeling really terrible, or then you can be brave and step out of it and just say no. And if these people don't support you, you just have to pull away from them for a little bit. I'm not saying like cut off all connections, but I sort of did that. I sort of just kind of didn't talk to a lot of people for 2 years in my own experience. I didn't talk to them for 2 years. And they would text me, they would call me, and sometimes they would leave like messages and all that stuff. And I didn't listen to the message, I didn't respond to the text, I blocked some of them because I know that while I'm raising my vibration, and if I was not there yet, just looking at the message and not having discernment will definitely pull my vibration down. And because that's in my consciousness, I know it's also in my subconsciousness, the shortcut of thinking. So I know that, I realize that. And my inner self doesn't want to go there, so I don't want to go there. Think about your inner self is the light. And if you're with the light, no matter where you go, you see everything so nicely. Now when you stepped out of the zone of the light, it's all dark, it's kind of scary, you don't know what's out there, and then fear, anxiety, everything comes because you're not with the light. And the only one person that's with you 24 hours 7 forever is your inner self. And your inner self is always looking out for you, always. Never for once does your inner self say you suck or doesn't root for you. It always roots for you, always. So trust your inner instincts, wire a new identity by taking out things that doesn't serve you, by meditation, by doing some exercises where you actually write down your goals, what you want to do, what you intend to do. And for desire, as I was saying, desire, if it's unsatisfied, normally it will cause angriness. When it's satisfied, it causes greediness. So as soon as you have a desire, that's the ego saying, this is what I want. What we as the intellectual human being and the inner self should do is transform it into intention. So I intend to do that. Let's say, oh man, I really like this new job. I really want it. And then I was like, hey, if I get it, I get it. I don't. I get the new job, right? And I intend to work the new job, but I don't go, well, I wish I have a promotion. Just concentrate on what you have right now and what you want. Turn it into the intention. I intend to do this, and then believe it, feel it, and then leave it to the universe. That's it. That's the trick here. Leave it to the universe. And sometimes if you just let go of the attachments of the results, the universe will show you something even more magnificent, just more beautiful. The other day, bought some stuff. This was kind of actually a long time ago. It feels like the other day, but bought like 4 glasses. One of them broke. So I'm like, one of them broke. I really wanted the 4 glasses, but one of them broke and it's non-returnable. It was like sales item, you can't return it. All right. So instead of thinking, oh my gosh, this one broke, my money is spent and I'm not getting my money's worth, and all sort of negative contradictory thoughts, what I did was, oh, I didn't get my finger cut, first of all. That's so fortunate. Second of all, oh, I still have 3 left. And, it's just me using the glasses, so it's not like I need all 4 of them. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I imagined the liquid I'm going to drink with the glasses and all that stuff. And then moments later, the knock on the door, and it is one of my family member bringing some gifts for me. And inside, there's some really cool looking wine glasses that I didn't even see in the store. And they're like really beautiful, crystal-like and all that stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I think if I would have acted adversely towards the glass, she wouldn't have gotten me that. I wouldn't have opened the door and I wouldn't have gotten that. So that's the trick. So if you want abundance to come, you have to think in an abundance way. And how do you do it if you have contradictory thoughts? It's by changing that vibration that you have, by either saging your room with Palo Santos or sage that clears up the energy. Take a cold shower, or even like wet your feet and wash your hands. The third way is to make a sound, like you can clap and then raise your hand up in the air, because according to yoga, there's a lot of energy points on the hands. So when you clap it, you activate it, and when you raise it up into the air, fingertips to the air, you actually become a transmuter of energy. It comes into you. Or you can use a Tibetan bowl, or have some wind chimes around the house, because anytime any sort of sound like that really disrupt the negative energy and the stagnant energy. It really, really disturbs that. So it just disperses that, and then you won't feel it anymore. Or you can chant Om. It's the universal sound. And when you chant Om, not only do you feel better, you let source come into you. It manifests inside of you. So it clears your energy. Or if you're into mantras, you can do some mantras. Meditate again, always meditate. And pranic food. Pranic food are food that gives you life force energy, according to yoga. So it's things that are like alive, like tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, green peppers, and then avocados, a lot of like fresh fruits, fruits too. Like star fruits is really great. The papaya is pretty great. And then you get something like coconut water, or the coconut flesh is like really awesome. A lot of these things, and eating plant-based mainly. Of course, you can sometimes eat some eggs, and then if you feel like eating some meat, you can go ahead and do it. But when you stuff yourself with meat, because it's already dead, it's already putrefying. As soon as it's dead and it's away. And also, the animal, when they get killed, there's the DNA that remembers the pain inside of their muscles and inside of DNA. So when you eat something that are not humanely slaughtered, you actually feel, if you're very sensitive spiritually, you will feel the animal suffering. I mean, I personally felt it, so that's why I don't eat meat anymore, because every time I eat it, every time I try eating it, I just feel terrible. I feel anxious. I feel just like, whoa. And I never feel like that if I eat a plant-based diet. I'm not promoting a plant-based diet, but I'm saying if 80%, like 70 to 80%, you're eating alive food, you're gonna feel a lot better, because alive food makes an alive body. Dead food, you need to rise it back up, and then your body needs to process a lot to make it a part of you, which you were alive. So I'll leave you with that. So to wire in your new identity, you just gotta change your belief. You just gotta believe it. And it might take a little bit. It might. And do some shadow work. I'll make another video about shadow work, but it might take a little bit, but it's A-okay, because you're worth it. This is all about the process. So focus on the process, keep your eyes on the prize, and really feel it, believe it, and trust me, it would just show up. It would just show up. Namaste, everybody. Please meditate, get to a point of neutrality, and just watch like the life of your dream just happens. It just does. Namaste.